It is raining outside. Hey Missouri, my name is December and I'm with the New Left. And we at the New Left want you to know how your government works without you feeling stupid. Welcome. Today we're doing Government 101, Separation of Powers. I only get one take for that. No, it was worth it. Let's go. You always hear about separation of powers, and some people don't even really believe that's true. I guess I'm also in that camp. It's not so much a separation so much as I believe that it's a forced cooperation between powers. So join me on this ride. You can't have one without the other. I don't know where that came from, sorry. Married with Children? Let's start easy. Let's start with appointments. The president has the power to nominate the directors of his cabinet, and nominate members to the Supreme Court. Congress, but really the Senate, confirms the president's nominations to his cabinet and to the members of the Supreme Court. So Congress has the power of confirmation. Neither the president nor Congress controls the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court governs itself. Let's jump to domestic. It's Congress that effectively controls government agencies, not the president. You know why? Because Congress controls the purse. Okay? This is super important. The department heads, the president's cabinet, are there to relay the wishes of the department's direction or the president's wishes for what he wants to happen with the department. They're there to relay and communicate. So it's important that Congress confirms who will be pseudo running the departments, because at the end of the day, they still answer to Congress. They do. So let's talk a little bit more about money and funding, right? It's really, you have to understand that Congress controls the purse is such an important phrase, because if you don't get that, you're not going to get the rest of this. Congress controls the money. It's not the president. And a lot of people seem to think like the president is a god, or a king, and that they're just levitating in the air, They're not. The president does not control the money. Okay? Congress. It's Congress. The president is allotted a budget by Congress for his own initiatives, programs, and activities. Congress is also responsible for funding the Supreme Court. Okay? So Congress controls how much money the president has and how much money the Supreme Court has. They control how much they get paid. They control the funding. Congress controls the purse. That's what that means. Let's move on to war. Congress has the sole power to declare war. They never do, but they have the sole power to do so against another country. Or its own country, I guess. The president sets the terms of engagement. Okay? It's why the president is in charge of the nukes, because they get to decide if terms of engagement involves nukes. Our Congress consists of over 500,000 reps, which is a handicap on the world stage. This is why the president is head of state, meaning that he is our top diplomat. He is our representative around the world when dealing with other countries. Because it's better to deal with just one person than 535 people, plus 6 that we don't talk about. The president has more powers in foreign affairs, and Congress, which controls the purse, has more power over domestic affairs, aka America. America. Let's talk more about foreign affairs. The president has the power to negotiate and sign off on treaties, including any agreements regarding U.S. membership or participation. Think of the Iran deal. Think of the Paris Climate Accords. Think of NATO, right? These are treaties. These are agreements. Any of those things. Now, technically, this is a shared responsibility in the Constitution. You all remember the Constitution, right? But in practice, it wasn't feasible to include Congress in these kind of conversations because there's too many members in Congress to get anything done. So think of it as a power that Congress didn't fight for, but reserves the right to. Trade. Same thing with trade and tariffs. Tariffs are a whole thing that I'm not going to go into right now, but maybe in another video. Check the library. Technically, there's a shared power here too, right? So Congress still controls the purse. So they dictate how much tariffs and taxes and things like that are going to be. between nations. At best, Congress takes in the president's desires on like tax rates and things like that. But at the end of the day, Congress makes those decisions because they control the money. Let's bring the Supreme Court back into this. Let's talk about law. The Supreme Court handles the legality of what the executive branch and the legislative branch want to do, the president and Congress. However, the Supreme Court does not have the power to enforce any of their decisions. The legislative branch has the responsibility to respect the rulings and make laws reflective of that. The executive branch, the president, has the power of enforcement of the law. Okay? They're expected to put their foot down and enforce the law. That's not going to happen because the president controls the military. I have to point out that the president does not always enforce Supreme Court decisions, and Congress has not always respected and made laws in response to Supreme Court decisions. Which brings us to impeachment. If the president steps out of line, the Supreme Court weighs in. If the Supreme Court or the president steps out of line, Congress has the power to impeach them. If congressional members don't know how to act, they can remove each other. But also, the president has the power to remove Congress members. The thing is that impeachment almost never happens. Almost never happens successfully. For an example of when all these powers were tested in a single historical event, please check out our other video, History is Crazy, the Indian Removal Act of 1830. Thanks for watching. My name is December, and welcome to The New Left. You can keep watching at thenewleftparty.com.